50 Cent has been working on this documentary for almost 2 years. The footage he has is insane. The people he got speaking about Diddy is ridiculous. And on top of that, the only place he agrees to do the interview, Rob, if you can show this, he goes and interviews with ABC. And there's an Instagram post he put up, Rob. I don't know if you have that or not. If you go on his Instagram account, he goes and does the interview about Diddy's documentary on ABC. And they say the reason why he did it on ABC, it's that one right there, Rob, the one you had it on, is because ABC News Station is one of only few stations they're allowed to watch in prison.
Another day, another Diddy headline taking over timelines everywhere. Lately, feeds have been flooded with talk about a new Netflix documentary connected to Diddy. And now 50 Cent is publicly reacting to it in a big way. According to posts he shared, some well-known celebrities are allegedly uncomfortable with what's being discussed, and the names being hinted at have people seriously stunned. This documentary is everywhere right now, dominating online conversations and stirring non-stop debate across social media. Big Hollywood figures are rumored to be stressing behind the scenes, worried about how they're being portrayed or even mentioned. These are people nobody expected to be caught up in this type of conversation, and now they're reportedly scrambling to protect their reputations. And 50 Cent? He's not easing up at all. He's posting screenshots, sharing reactions, and calling out what he claims is panic from certain corners of the industry. He's standing 10 toes down online, responding in real time, and making it clear he's not here to smooth anything over.
Honestly, it's between both of them and God.
Yeah.
So, only God can judge, and both of them people will have time to sit with God and talk about and through everything. And right now is Puff's time to sit there and have a conversation, a much needed conversation with God.
The energy is loud, direct, and impossible to ignore. In this video, I'm breaking down which celebrities 50 Cent has referenced, what kind of posts he's been sharing, and why this documentary has so many insiders allegedly on edge. The situation has the entertainment world feeling tense, and the pressure is clearly building fast. Stick around because the wildest part involves Jay-Z and why his name doesn't appear in the documentary at all. No clips, no mentions, nothing. That silence alone has the internet asking questions, and people are definitely reading between the lines. Before we get into specific names, let's slow it down and talk about how all of this even started. Over the past few days, this documentary hit Netflix and immediately climbed the charts, pulling massive attention right out the gate. Reports say it racked up around 21.8 million views in just 6 days, putting it ahead of major Netflix hits right now. That alone turned heads across the industry, because this wasn't marketed as just entertainment. It was framed as a deep dive, and that made people nervous. This isn't a light celebrity recap either.
Diddy and Puff have a long-term beef. It's personal. It's between both of them and God. Just the way Puff is down on his luck and 50's kicking a man when he's down. If 50 ever luck turned up on 50, you got to be careful what you put out. There's a karma to every action
The
that you do.
documentary includes interviews, archived clips, and commentary from people who previously worked close to Diddy, all sharing their perspectives. It paints a detailed timeline and brings up moments that had never been publicly discussed in one place before. Things really took a turn once the documentary dropped. Almost immediately, rumors started flying that certain celebrities were unhappy and pushing back behind the scenes. Allegedly, calls were made, pressure was applied, and concerns about reputation started bubbling up fast. And once again, 50 Cent jumped straight into the mix online. No soft language, no vague hints, just bold posts and sharp captions that had fans refreshing his page non-stop. The internet noticed everything, and the reactions came flooding in. So yeah, buckle up, because this story keeps escalating.
Is Jay-Z. Just finished watching the Diddy documentary, and not a picture, not a mention, no video footage, nothing with Jay-Z. Like, what kind of deal did 50 strike with the Carters? I've Googled it, and I can't seem to find anything except for the 150 post that he did. And I can't tell if he's trolling Jay-Z or what's going on. Is he so powerful that he is getting out of this? Is it the Epstein files? What's the tea?
Let's start with Marlon Wayans, because this part genuinely surprised people. He suddenly found himself in a public back and forth connected to this situation, and fans immediately started asking one question. How did it even get here? Marlon popped up on the Cruise Show, that big LA radio station everybody knows, and he made it clear where he stood. He basically said 50 Cent was wrong for speaking out so hard when Diddy is already facing serious problems. Marlon kept bringing up karma, saying only God can judge Diddy, and that public criticism like this goes too far. He even added that Diddy just needs time to...
Why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy.
Have a conversation with God instead of being dragged through public opinion non-stop. Marlon was pushing the idea of grace, reflection, and redemption, saying everyone deserves space to work through their issues privately. Now look, redemption is one thing, but people online immediately started asking questions. Why is Marlon riding this hard for Diddy? The defense felt personal to a lot of viewers, and that energy didn't sit right with some folks watching closely.
For Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform.
What they consider a pre-existing beef, right? For 20 years, right? Is me being uncomfortable with him suggesting that he takes me shopping, or I looked at it like it was like a tester. Like maybe you'll come play with me type of thing, right? And it's not personal.
Social media started speculating, wondering if Marlon felt connected to the situation in some way. Not accusing, just questioning the passion behind it. And clearly, 50 Cent picked up on that same vibe because he did not stay quiet at all. 50 went straight to Instagram and posted an edited image of Marlon dressed as one of the characters from White Chicks. The caption was loud too. He wrote, "Did he got this fool trying to get at me LOL? No AI, that's your vibe boy. Keep my name out your mouth, yo." The internet went wild instantly. That post made it clear 50 felt Marlon was defending Diddy for deeper reasons. The message was basically that they were cut from the same cloth, at least in 50's opinion. No sugarcoating, no subtlety, just straight shots. And with all the old clips, interviews, and conversations resurfacing online lately, people started re-examining past connections. That's why some viewers say they understand why Marlon's loyalty raised eyebrows, even if nothing is proven. But it didn't stop there. Marlon later reacted to the documentary again and doubled down, warning 50 about karma. In a clip that started circulating, Marlon said something along the lines of 50 facing consequences for exposing Diddy. So basically, Marlon was suggesting that 50 might face karma for putting all this out there. And that just made people even more confused.
Did Diddy do that to Pac?
Because the question kept coming up louder than before. Why is this hitting such a nerve? Even Charlemagne the God jumped in and pointed out what he saw as a double standard. He said people only scream, "kicking a man" while he's down, when it's a black creator like 50 Cent doing the documentary.
This is Diddy's 19 years old. If you just type in the city college, yeah, this is 34 years ago, guys.
Wow.
Exactly 34 years ago. Go to a clip of it, Rob, if you can, just to show. Go to the cover of that page. Go to the cover of that. Look at that.
Oh my God.
8 crushed to death. And ends up becoming 9, by the way. Yeah, true story. But if you go and see if you can find a video, Rob, of what it looked like. If you type if you type in video, so everybody's coming to this game, you know, all the major NBA, you know, all the major rappers, everybody's, oh my God, it's going to be great. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. And in that image right there, go to that image right there with Diddy. No, the middle one. That's him doing the press conference. He does the press conference on that day at 19-ish years old. Boom, he becomes famous. And he creates that rumor reputation of he can put the biggest parties in the world and people show up, the biggest promoter. So that became a way where his image got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Charlemagne pointed out that when TMZ dropped content, when Hulu released theirs, and when Peacock had their versions, nobody said a word about karma. No outrage, no lectures, no moral speeches at all. So why is all that energy aimed at 50 specifically? That's what people are questioning. Some viewers say it feels like protective behavior, like folks are nervous about what might come next. And that's just an observation. Now this is where things get really strange. And honestly, this might be the most confusing part of the entire documentary. You sit through 4 full episodes about Diddy, covering his career, influence, and controversies. And one name is completely absent. Jay-Z, not one mention. No photos, no archive clips, not even a passing reference. And if you know hip-hop history, you already know that silence feels loud. Jay-Z and Diddy crossed paths constantly back in the day. Industry events, business moves, major parties, shared circles. Their names used to live in the same conversations, so people noticed immediately when one was missing. Someone on TikTok summed it up perfectly when they said, "How do you tell this story and leave him out?" And honestly, that question stuck with a lot of viewers, especially since months ago, online discussions were linking both names together in headlines and rumors. Now suddenly, Jay-Z seems erased from the narrative entirely, and people are trying to connect the dots. So here's the theory floating around online. Some believe 50 may have an understanding with Jay-Z and Beyonce behind the scenes. Not confirmed, just speculation. Maybe it's about staying quiet. Maybe it's about strategy. But the silence has people talking. And a lot of people online believe this is exactly why Jay-Z was completely left out of the documentary. Let's be real for a second. There's no way you tell the full story of Diddy's rise, influence, and inner circle without mentioning Jay-Z at all.
Recordings give viewers an intimate look at Combs' mindset ahead of his criminal trial, even conversations with his legal team.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day. Perhaps. What was he intending to use it for?
I have no idea what he was doing that for.
I mean, you're talking about a man who films himself doing everything.
That gap feels intentional, and viewers definitely noticed it fast. If you've been paying attention to Jaguar Wright over the years, then this part won't surprise you one bit. Jaguar has been saying for a long time that if Diddy ever fell from grace, Jay-Z would be the next major name people start questioning. She's been repeating that warning in multiple interviews for years. Jaguar straight up said, "Once one goes down, the next one is coming." When she first said it, a lot of people brushed her off and called her dramatic. But now, folks are revisiting those clips with a whole different mindset. Because seriously, why else would Jay-Z be completely erased from a documentary about someone he worked closely with for decades? That's the question people can't stop asking. The silence isn't subtle either. It's loud, heavy, and uncomfortable. Think about it for a second. Jay-Z was present at industry events, business meetings, and major moments in that era. He and Diddy were both at the top of the music world at the same time, moving in the same circles, making power plays together. So where is he in this documentary? Not a single clip, not a single mention. That absence is doing more talking than any narration ever could. And viewers are reading into it heavy. Now let's move on to Ja Rule, because honestly, this man just can't seem to stay out of anything involving 50 Cent. Ja Rule has been throwing shots non-stop, criticizing 50 and trying to downplay the documentary any chance he gets. He's been active online, posting comments and reactions, clearly trying to shift the narrative and make 50 look messy for putting this project out. The tension between those two has history, so nobody was shocked by the shots, but the timing raised eyebrows. Here's where it gets interesting though. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, has already spoken publicly about Ja Rule. Gene hinted that Ja Rule had his own private dealings and situations connected to Diddy back in the day. Gene didn't accuse directly, but he strongly implied that Ja Rule may have been around some of the same environments now being questioned. That alone made people side-eye Ja Rule's sudden outrage over the documentary. So maybe that's why Ja Rule seems so pressed right now. Maybe he's worried that if people keep digging deeper, his name could come up in conversations he doesn't want attached to him. Just speculation, but the internet is definitely talking. 50 Cent didn't help calm things down either. He posted about Ja Rule, suggesting that Ja Rule's reaction looks like protection mode, implying they might be in the same boat. That post alone had comment sections exploding. And despite all the backlash, all the complaints, and all the rumored legal pressure, this documentary is absolutely dominating. 50 shared the numbers himself, and they're wild. The documentary reportedly pulled 21.8 million views in just 6 days, putting it ahead of Stranger Things, which is one of Netflix's biggest shows ever. 50 captioned the post, 21.8 million views in 6 days. Boom. Bigger than Stranger Things. You see it? Loud energy. Someone in the comments joked, "Diddy stranger than Stranger Things?" And honestly, after watching those 4 episodes, That comment hits different. The material discussed feels heavier and darker than most scripted shows. People are binge-watching non-stop. It's trending everywhere. Conversations are blowing up across platforms, and ironically, the harder some folks push back, the more curious the public becomes. Classic Streisand effect in real time. The attempts to suppress it only made it bigger, louder, and more talked about than ever. And now we're stepping into the most serious part of the documentary. This is where things shift from celebrity chatter into territory that feels way heavier, and the implications start getting real. One of the most shocking moments in the documentary comes when it dives into Tupac's murder, and this part goes way beyond internet theories. We're talking about actual recordings that have been publicly referenced by federal investigators, not rumors or fan speculation. The documentary includes audio recordings of Keith D speaking with authorities. For anyone who might not know, Keith D has long been publicly linked to the Tupac case through his own statements. In these recordings, he claims that Diddy offered a large sum of money to target Tupac and Suge Knight. According to Keith D's own words on those tapes, Diddy allegedly offered $1 million to have Tupac and Suge Knight taken out. Let that sink in for a second. That claim alone stunned viewers and immediately set the internet on fire. Keith D further claims that only Tupac was killed, while Suge Knight survived. Because of that, he says the payment was allegedly reduced to $500,000 instead of the full amount. That number alone had people sitting in silence after hearing it. The documentary stresses that these are allegations based on recorded statements, not courtroom verdicts. Still, hearing those claims laid out with real audio attached made this section especially heavy and disturbing for viewers watching. The series also explores the tensions surrounding Tupac, Biggie, and Diddy at the time. Multiple voices in the documentary suggest Diddy felt uncomfortable with how close Tupac and Biggie were becoming during that period. According to those accounts, Diddy allegedly believed Biggie was drifting away from him and toward Tupac, and that shift caused resentment. The documentary presents this as one possible motive discussed by people close to the situation back then. Because of these resurfaced recordings, some fans are now speculating online that the Tupac case could be re-examined. The documentary points out that these recordings have existed for years and are already part of official files, which adds to the renewed attention. This is where the story moves far beyond music rivalries. The tone shifts into serious legal territory, with discussions involving federal investigations and long-standing unsolved cases. The weight of it all hits differently when it's presented this way. And if that wasn't heavy enough, the documentary then turns to Biggie's death, which brings another wave of controversy. Kurt Burrows, described as a former business associate connected to Bad Boy Records, shares a story that left viewers stunned. According to Burrows, Biggie was originally scheduled to fly to the UK for a tour, with flights already booked and plans locked in. He claims Diddy told Biggie to cancel the trip and stay in Los Angeles instead. Just days later, Biggie was killed in a drive-by shooting. The timing alone made this account deeply unsettling for viewers watching the documentary unfold. Burrows also claims that Diddy paid for Biggie's funeral using funds from Biggie's estate, meaning the costs were allegedly charged back to Biggie himself. That detail sparked outrage online and left people questioning loyalty and leadership. The documentary further claims Diddy used the aftermath of Biggie's death to elevate his own public image. It references the release of "I'll Be Missing You," suggesting that while the video presented public grief, there may have been strategic career benefits behind the scenes. Again, these are claims presented by interviewees, not legal conclusions. Still, viewers felt the contrast between public mourning and alleged private actions was deeply uncomfortable. Unsurprisingly, Diddy's legal team responded fast. Shortly after the documentary aired, they reportedly sent a cease and desist letter to Netflix, calling the project a one-sided hit piece. The legal team claims the documentary used unauthorized footage and argues that the material should never have been released publicly. They also suggested potential legal action, including financial damages. But here's where things get tense. 50 Cent and the documentary's director, Alexandria Stapleton, publicly responded, saying all footage was obtained legally and that they had full rights to use everything shown. They made it clear they aren't backing down. According to them, this documentary was carefully vetted, legally cleared, and intentionally released so that long-hidden material could finally be seen by the public. And with that footage now out in the open, people are asking one big question. If this evidence has existed for years, why is it only now being widely discussed? And what happens next? Here's the part that really makes people shake their heads. That footage everyone's talking about didn't come from some random source. It came from a videographer that Diddy himself allegedly hired. Yeah, let that sink in for a second. According to the documentary, Diddy reportedly had someone following him around and filming everything in the days leading up to his arrest. The belief was that he'd beat the case and eventually release his own documentary showing his side of the story. Instead, that same footage ended up in 50 Cent's hands and is now streaming on Netflix for over 21.8 million people to see. That's the definition of irony right there. Viewers say it looks like Diddy unknowingly documented his own unraveling. In the footage, he's seen speaking with his legal team, expressing concern about public opinion shifting and stressing about how the media narrative is slipping out of his control. But instead of shaping the story, that footage allegedly does the opposite. It paints a picture of someone more focused on image management than addressing the serious claims being discussed. People watching felt uncomfortable seeing how much attention was placed on optics rather than accountability. Now look, this is heavy stuff, and it goes way beyond celebrity drama. That's why 50 Cent said something important in interviews that really stood out. He explained that staying silent would make it seem like the hip-hop community supports this kind of behavior, and he said, that's not the case at all. According to 50, this documentary is meant to make one thing clear. Hip-hop does not support abuse, hip-hop does not support manipulation, and hip-hop does not support using power to harm others. He's framing this as a line being drawn, not a personal vendetta. He's also said this project isn't about revenge or tearing someone down for clout. It's about accountability and giving people a chance to finally be heard after being silent for years. That message hit hard for a lot of viewers. The documentary includes voices from people who say they were affected, along with material meant to support their claims. And when you see celebrities allegedly trying to block or discredit it, many viewers are asking one simple question. If there's nothing to hide, why fight so hard to stop it? This is where Gene Deal comes back into the conversation. Diddy's former bodyguard explained why he didn't appear in the documentary, and what he said raised eyebrows fast. Gene said 50 Cent personally called him and asked him to be involved. They spoke for about 45 minutes, covering topics like security, industry culture, and what the environment around Bad Boy Records was like back then. But according to Gene, things changed once he started dealing with the director, Alexandria Stapleton. He claimed she wouldn't meet his requested terms, spoke to him in a way he found disrespectful, and then told him something that made him walk away completely. Gene said she told him that 50 Cent doesn't actually control what goes in or out of the documentary, and that he doesn't control who gets paid either. Hearing that made Gene uncomfortable enough to pull out entirely. Gene said if 50 doesn't have control over a project tied to his name, then something isn't adding up. And honestly, that just opens up even more questions about who's really calling the shots here. Is it Netflix? Are there higher-level decisions being made behind the scenes? Did powerful industry figures have influence over what was included or left out? We may never get clear answers, but the questions aren't going away. What is clear is that this documentary is shifting the conversation. It's pulling back the curtain, amplifying voices that were ignored for years, and forcing the entertainment industry to face uncomfortable truths. So let's recap. You've got Marlon Wayans publicly defending Diddy, Jay-Z completely missing from the narrative, J. Rule throwing shots, and legal threats flying toward Netflix. This story is layered, messy, and far from over. Now I want to hear from you. What's your take on all of this? Do you think the Tupac case could be revisited? Why do you think Jay-Z wasn't mentioned at all? And do you feel like certain celebrities are protecting themselves? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I read every single one. If this breakdown had you locked in, smash that like button, share this video with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe to ScarFame for more deep dives like this. Stay sharp, stay curious, and I'll catch you on the next one.